Howdy Beans, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Howdy Beans podcast. I'm your host, Luke the Jolly Bean. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all good, as per usual. Before we get into today's topic, I just want to do a bit of housekeeping because I like to keep my house nice and clean. So make sure that you follow me on Twitter at howdybeans_pod. If you listen to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And finally, if you listen to this on Spotify on your mobile phone, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating. So today we're going to be looking at Ocean Waves from 1993. This is a TV movie from Studio Ghibli. Now, I'll be honest with you, before we get into it all, I was a bit apprehensive at first to do a review of this film because it's a TV movie. And technically, if you look at the chronological order of Studio Ghibli, this film does come after Porco Rosso, which I've done a review of. If you want to go back and check out, more than welcome to. I actually had a ball with that film. But in terms of movies, it is Porco Rosso and then Pom Poko. I feel like I'm pronouncing that right. That is the next movie. So I was a bit apprehensive because I wasn't sure if I should do this film or not. But I figured it's Studio Ghibli. Might as well check it out. This film, I think, is the only Ghibli movie that I could find in my research that hasn't got an English dub. It has got a Spanish dub, but I'm going to have to listen to it in Japanese, which is completely fine with me because if you know and listen to the podcast for enough times, you know that I'm happy to watch non-English speaking films. I love one of my favourite movies of all time is a French movie, Amelie. So that doesn't bother me. But I was just a bit apprehensive because it is a TV film. But I am still excited because it's still Ghibli and it's still going to be a wonderful experience. For anybody who doesn't know, because I feel like I've jumped ahead a bit, I've jumped the shark, this is a continuation of my Studio Ghibli adventure where I go back from the very beginning with Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, and I've made my way through all of the Studio Ghibli movies in chronological order. And I'm having an absolute ball. I have enjoyed every single minute of it. Even movies like Only Yesterday, where that film, even though I admitted in the review, it wasn't made for me, and it's not really made to appeal to somebody like me or things that I like, I still enjoyed it because it was still Ghibli. It was still wonderful. It still had that essence of purity, of innocence, of just pure storytelling. That even though it wasn't made for me, I still enjoyed it because of what it was and what it was doing and how it looked and the music and everything about it was just gorgeous. You know, so even on movies like that, well, I don't like it, or at least it's not for me, I still enjoyed myself and I still liked it, if that makes sense. And that's kind of what pushed me to decide to do Ocean Waves. Even though it's a TV movie, it's still Ghibli. And I'm sure I'm still going to like it, even if it's not in my native language. That's completely fine. So yeah, Ocean Waves from 1993. As for the synopsis, where is it? I have it around here somewhere, unless I got rid of it. There it is. So, Ocean Waves. As he journeys back from Tokyo to his high school for a reunion, Taku recounts his memories of his school days, focusing in particular on a love triangle that developed between him and two of his friends. That is a story synopsis for this movie. As for the production, so this film is based on, and again, I'm just going to say it right now, I am dyslexic and I do struggle to pronounce the Japanese names. So if I pause or if I struggle or if I pronounce them wrong, I just want to say right now, I do deeply apologize and I hope I don't offend anybody. I am trying my best, so please be patient with me. So with that, let's get back into it. So the film is based on Himuro's novel, which was first serialized with illustrations by Akatsuwa Kondo. From the February 1990 to January 1992 issues of Animage magazine, the monthly installments were collected in a hardcover book, published on February the 28th in 1993, with some episodes omitted. Both the book and its sequel were republished as a paperback in 1999, with some pop culture references updated. Kondo served as the character designer and animation director for the adaptation. production of Ocean Waves was controlled by Studio Ghibli, but much of the animation was produced with the assistance of JC staff, Madhouse Studios, and O Productions. You have to say it like that because it has an exclamation mark, so it's O Productions, who had worked with Ghibli on past projects. This film is the first Ghibli anime directed by someone other than Hayao Miyazaki or Isao Takahata. Tomomi Mujizaki, again, if I butcher the name, I do apologize, who was 34 years old at the time, was brought in to direct. The film was an attempt to make anime solely by the young staff members, mostly in their 20s and 30s. Their motto was to produce quickly, cheaply, with quality. But ultimately, it went over budget and over scheduled, and the director claimed he developed a ulcer because of the stress of this movie. So that is the production of the film. Again, I haven't really got much to say about my memories because, again, I haven't watched it. But I am excited. I really, really am, because it's Ghibli. And from reading the synopsis, it reminds me of, like I said, of Only Yesterday. That movie was about a 27-year-old office worker who travels to the countryside while she starts to reminisce about her childhood in Tokyo. And again, I come back to that film because, again, even though it wasn't made for me and it didn't appeal to me, I still enjoyed it. I know it's strange to say that because you're like, well, how can you enjoy something and something appeal to you if it's not for you, or you didn't get as much enjoyment out of it? And it's just down to the sheer power and strength of Ghibli, of how good their movies are and how much passion and love they put into their films and their writing and their characters, that they could literally make a movie about two people watching paint dry and just have those two people have a conversation between themselves, and it would be the most interesting, beautiful, gorgeous, next generation sort of animated movie ever made. And it would blow you away, and I'm sure it would. And not that they would do it, but if they did, I'm sure it would be a masterpiece and it would win loads of awards. And you could call it something as simple as paint, and it would be beautiful. So I'm sure I'm going to love it. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, and I am excited to sort of get going. So I'm going to go off and go into Netflix because the movie's on Netflix. I'm going to go off and watch Ocean Waves now. And when I come back, I'm going to let you all know how I think, how I feel, and if it is a film that is for me and if it is worth checking out, even if it's not in English. So I'll see you in a second. Right, and welcome back, everybody. So I've just finished watching Ocean Waves, and I'm going to go straight into my first impressions. I don't get it, and I don't mean that like. All right, let me basically start by saying yes, I don't get it, but that's not to say it's not good. This film, well, it's kind of difficult. There's no way you can say a Studio Ghibli movie is not good because everything that they do is gold, or everything that I've seen them do so far, as we've gotten to like 1993, has been completely gold. If it's not been the art, if it's not been the music, if it's not been the visuals, it's not been the cast and the stories. Everything about their films is just impeccably brilliant, and I've been washed away every time. But with this one, it was very much like Only Yesterday, where it was like, it's bloody brilliant, but it's not made for me. It's not for me. Again, I had to watch this movie in Japanese because there is no English dub of this film. This is the only Studio Ghibli movie that hasn't got an English dub, which didn't bother me because, again, I'm used and I like to watch movies that are not in English anyway. So that was completely fine with me. But I struggled to follow the story. And I had to sit and think about it for a while. And I think the reason why I didn't get it is because this movie is meant to be an allegory on life. That the mundaneness of it, and I'll get on to how somehow Ghibli makes the mundane beautiful. Again, they just make everything beautiful, but it's the mundaneness of life. It's that idea of life is boring, really. This is a slice of life story. Not everything is as incredible, as amazing you see in cinema. Life is boring. Things don't really happen. There's no real narrative to it. Sometimes things happen and they don't, and then sometimes spontaneous things happens, or there's a twist and blah blah blah. Like, most life is mundane, but again, that you don't think about it because that is what life is all about, really. You live day to day, and if something happens, great. Something bad happens, oh, terrible. But most time, it's just very middle of the road, good. And in that way, it's great. And like, there is a lot of nostalgia to it. Like, there was a lot of moments when I was watching this movie when I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I remember myself when I was in school, when I was in high school, when I was in college. Some of the stupid things that I've done, women that I had attraction to and I fancied, and I completely blew it. I mean, I'm sure we've all been there. Or the fact of, like, there was somebody that liked you, but you didn't realize, and you messed up, and or generally you had a friend that you really, really like cherished, but you just fell apart, and you never got a chance to say sorry or whatever. And things like that. Like, it made me nostalgia for, like, when I was in school, because again, we're all humans, we're all fallible. That we are going to make mistakes, especially when you're a teenager and you have no idea what you're doing in the world, and you're full of hormones, and you don't know how you feel. You don't know if what's right, what's wrong, if what you're feeling is normal or natural or whatever. So there's that constant motion, and if you're gonna have all those things going in your head, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna cock up, and there are still times today, and I'm 26 years old as of recording this, soon to be 27. But even still today, I'm still sit here and I still think of, like, do people judge me for the mistakes I made in school? It was years ago. I left school 2014. It was a long, long time ago. But I still sit here and think, if people see me online and that, or if people saw me in the street, would they go, "Oh, that was the guy from so and so"? Like, would I still get judged from the things and mistakes that I made in the past, or would they not remember, or would they not? Would they still care? Would they not care? Would they give me a second chance if I managed to, for some reason, come back into their life? Because I know I would. Where I live, a lot of people that went to school still live around here, so occasionally you do still see each other. And it's usually more than just like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, it's nice. I'm glad you're doing well. You look fantastic." And then you kind of part ways. But I know I would. I know that, if somebody was coming in my life, that I went to school with and haven't seen in years, and they wanted to stay in my life, then more than likely I'd happily bring them back in, But I do sit there, like, I think I'm not the only person who really sits there and ponders on the idea of, are they still judged for the mistakes they made in school? Big or small, it doesn't really matter, but just the idea behind it. So it got me nostalgia for that. It got me nostalgia for those sort of things. But even so, I just struggled to really get into the story. And again, talk about story. Again, I'll go into a bit of detail. So the story kind of revolves around three characters, mainly. Again, I'm going to butcher the names, and I'm going to pronounce them as best as I can. But you've got Taku and Yutaka, and the love interest, the female love interest, Rika Ako, but I'm just going to call her Rika because it's easier. And basically, Yotaka basically likes this girl. He is the class president. She's new in the school in town, and he's been asked to basically introduce her and to show her around the school. And he gets in touch with his best mate, which is Taku. Basically tells him, like, I've fallen for this girl. I think she's the bee's knees. Like, she's absolutely wonderful, and I want to get to know her and that sort of thing. And Taku, he doesn't really care. You know what I mean? He's not interested. He's kind of had to, well, she's not that special. Like, I don't get it. And everybody in the school says how weird she is, how different it is, because they're all happy. Like, because again, it's a small little town, sort of village. So everybody knows everybody, and everybody's grew up with everybody. So everybody's involved in each other's lives. Everybody is doing all the extra school activities together. Whereas Rika, she doesn't want to get involved in anything. She's not really interested. Like, she's from Tokyo. She's from a big city. Again, I would imagine, being from a big city, you'd be used to not being involved in everything in everybody's lives. And everybody calls her weird for that. And Taku, again, he's not really interested. He's more interested in us. Like, look, I'm like, I just want to get through school, sort of thing. And I generally thought, and I was really open for the idea of this, I generally thought this was going to be a gay romance. That's where I thought the story was going, because the way Taku looks at his best mate, Yataka, the way he looks at him, the way he talks about him, there is a moment in this story when they've Yataka talks about Ri for the first time, talks about what he feels about her, and like there's this moment like which is kind of played kind of inside the mind of Taku, and he basically says, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says this line where he says, she would never understand you. There is more to you than what is on the outside. You know, most girls only look for pretty guys, but there's so much more to you. And there's little mints like this, and the way he looks at him, and the way they look at each other. Like I generally thought that it was going to go that way. It was going to be like a gay romance between these two characters. And I was completely here for it because, again, it felt so natural. It felt so right. The way he talks about his friend, the way he looks about his friend, the way he is so he's such an honourable friend. He's always there for him. He's always thinking about him and trying to be there and help him and that sort of thing. And I was here for it, but it never goes to that. Instead, it kind of focuses on a story between Taku and Ri and sort of their weird relationship. And she's very. This is where the story lost me, because I was completely here for this gay relationship, but you don't get that. You get this relationship between Taku and Ri. Ri basically uses Taku and all the time and sends him mixed signals and is really confusing. Like at one moment she's like asking him for money, then he kind of gets he basically gets not tricked into, that's the wrong word, he gets led into having to go to Tokyo with her. And she completely treats him like crap. But she's nice to him at 1 minute, but then she's horrible at the next. And like, there's many moments where like Taku's like, I don't understand this woman. And I'm like, I'm right there with you, mate. I don't understand her either. I don't know why you still talk to her, or why you still have any contact with this woman. But you know, the story goes on and it prevails. And then at the end of the story, it's revealed Taku's always had a crush on her. He's always like that. And it was at that moment I sat there and went, what? When? Where? I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I like it hit me as such a surprise, because like, where? There was never a moment where they were ever together, which I believed or even was conveyed to the idea of that they liked each other, that she liked him and he liked her. It never occurred to me at all. Like I said, I saw more love and care, even if it was a platonic one. It wasn't a gay one. It was just completely platonic. I saw more love, more of friendship in Taku and Yataka. You know, I saw their relationship was being a lot more sort of genuine and honest and true than the other two. And that's I think that's what confused me. That's why I just don't get it. Is like again, maybe because it's not in English, maybe even though I was paying full attention, maybe that's why it is. Maybe because I couldn't really gravitate towards it or not. But I ended up having to go onto YouTube and watch YouTube videos of explaining the ins and outs of the story to me. Really, like again, I don't know. Like I said, it's still impressive. Like the music is beautiful. Like it's top notch Ghibli. Like literally, you know, you're watching a Ghibli movie. Like even if this is not their standard, you are still watching a Studio Ghibli film because of the music. You know, the music is flawless. Then you get the art design and the art direction and the way they tell this story with the art. Like, this is what I was saying earlier. Ghibli has a way of making the mundane beautiful, of making the just boringness of life seem interesting, seem gorgeous, seem pretty. You know, even when you like they're in their small little town where they live, which I think is called. Hold on, I'm going to butcher the name. I do apologize. It's Kochi. I think it's Kochi City, where they are. Again, it's very rural. It's very small, but it looks beautiful. And then they go to Tokyo, and Tokyo looks gorgeous and beautiful. And even just the simplest things. You look at alleyways and side streets, gorgeous. Like, there are many moments where I sat there and went, I want to live here. It looks beautiful. And like, I've had friends that have grew up in Tokyo and have lived there or you know, traveled there, and they do say that it's a beautiful place. And Japan is a very beautiful place. And again, one day I'd love to go and visit and travel around, because it is just gorgeous. Like, if Ghibli, I've seen shot for shot photos of like the real world sort of inspiration and then the Ghibli version of it. And it it's beautiful in the real world, but like Ghibli just put there even just they just make the more beautiful, which you didn't think was possible, but they just do. So like, I'd love to go one day and really have a look around. But yeah, like I said, overall sort of thoughts is like even though I didn't get it and the story didn't go exactly where I was going to go, I could appreciate it for what it is. It is a story of nostalgia. It is the story of going through the motions of growing up, really, of not knowing who you are as a person, not knowing how you feel, not knowing what's going on. These constant swell of emotions, that nostalgia of, we all make mistakes when we're younger, because that's how their story is. Like, I've jumped ahead a little bit, but that's how the story basically works, is that you've got the main character of Taku, basically explaining the story. It's kind of like if you would think Stand By Me, or what was the other one? Sandlot. How like you've got the narrator who is like an adult, and he goes, "Oh, I remember back when I was a kid, and me and my friends, we got up some shenanigans," and then it would cut to them being as kids, and that would be the story. That's the kind of how it is. How like Taku, he's getting on a train to go back to his little town so that they could have a reunion. And that's kind of the flashbacks, how like there are moments where you have him when he's an adult, where he's traveling, and it will go back to when he was younger. Again, very much like Only Yesterday. Only Yesterday did that as well, which again, I appreciated it there, and I appreciate it here as well. It is beautiful storytelling. It's just the fact of, the story didn't get where I was thinking it was going to go. I don't know if I fully understood the romance. I think that's what I don't get. I get everything else. It's just the romance angle as I didn't get it, because I would have happily gone with sort of the gay story, and I thought that would have been fantastic. I think that would have been really interesting to see. But yeah, like I said, this film was a made-for-TV movie for a Japanese audience. So somebody like myself, who's grew up in the UK all his life, won't fully probably, there's a fair argument to make that that's the reason why I don't fully understand it, is because I don't understand the culture, which is fine, because I imagine it's the same. I know I have a lot of American friends who watch British TV and watch British movies, and they ask me, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Like, this makes no sense. That makes no sense. And I'm like, it does to me. I have to explain it to them. If you go as simple as like Wallace and Gromit and like Chicken Run and stuff like that, like I've got American friends that have watched that, and then they've like said to me, like, what does this mean? I don't get that. And I'm having to explain it to them. So of course there is going to be, there are always going to be, like, there's American things that I watch and I don't understand, and then I have to talk to my American friends and they explain it to me. So like in every culture and in every part of the world, there are different things that you will understand or you won't understand. It just you have to live there to really get it. And again, that's fine. That's just how humans are, and that's how life is, really. But I still appreciate it for what it is, for what it is trying to do, and for what it's trying to say. Even though I don't get the romance, I get it's trying to say something. Again, I'm the wrong audience person for it, but I still appreciate it. And I think that's the main thing. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about it, to be honest. I wish I had more to say. I do. I wish I understood. I wish I really was able to fully commit and get into it. And I think I would have if it went the gay angle. I think I would have been into it then, because I feel like that. I thought that's where it was going, and I was all here for it because it felt true and honest. But it didn't. But again, even though it didn't, it's still all right. You know what I mean? Like Only Yesterday, I still said that movie was good, even though it wasn't for me. I still said it was good because it was. There's no way you cannot watch that movie and not say it's not beautiful, because it is. And it's the same here. It's the fact of I didn't get it, but it was gorgeous because it's Ghibli. You know what I mean? And how many other studios can you say that? Where it's like you watch a movie by a studio, not get it really, not be fully understanding what's going on, but still sit there and go, I enjoyed that. That was still pretty good. So only Ghibli. Only Ghibli can you do that. So yeah, that's all I have to say, really. There is a bit of trivia, to be honest. I managed to find some, which I didn't notice this one bit of trivia, but I'm now going to have to go back and watch this one scene just to see it. But during the school year, school fair, you can see in a long shot Porco Rosso sitting on a bench, which again, I didn't notice that at all, mainly because I was focusing so much on the subtitles that I missed that as it came to scene, but that would have been cool to notice organically. This movie was the first Ghibli animated directed movie by another person that wasn't Hayao Miyazaki or Isao Takahata. The story mainly took place in Kochi City. Kochi is on the island of Shikoku. Again, if I butcher the names, I do apologize. The smallest of the four major islands that comprise Japan. This movie has 2 English titles. Unlike other movies, Ghibli didn't give it an official English title for a long time. Ghibli finally titled it Ocean Waves, but most people in the US know it as I Can Hear the Sea, a direct translation of the Japanese title. So, like I said, not a lot of trivia. That is some of the best ones that I could find. Other ones I could find kind of just sort of reinstated what I'd already said in the introduction. But yeah, like I said, it was all right. It was pretty good. Like, if you like Ghibli and if you like Japanese movies and if you like anime, you'll still find your enjoyment here. Hopefully, you'll probably understand it a lot more than I did. And if you have seen it, please do let me know. Like, explain it to me. Like somebody come along and explain the romance part to me. I get the overarching point. Just explain to me the romance between the two characters. What did I miss? What am I not seeing? You know what I mean? So if you've seen it, please get in touch and let me know that, because that is something I want to understand, because I've watched a few, 2 videos on it before this review, and I couldn't find what I was looking for. A lot of them was just explaining the overall story, but didn't explain the romance. So if you've seen it and you understand it, or you think you do, or whatever, just send me a message, voice message, whatever, explaining that romance. That's it. And if you haven't seen it, again, check it out. It's still Ghibli. It's still wonderful, beautiful. If you have Netflix, I know it's on Netflix here in the UK because that's where I watched it, so you can watch it there. And yeah, really, that's all to say, to be honest. So thank you very much for listening to my review of Ocean Waves. Hope you liked it and hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah, I was going to say something then, and it completely flew from my mind. Oh, it's gone. It doesn't matter. Anyway. Thank you very much for listening. I've been your host, Luke the Bean. Thank you very, very much, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.